You're not going to be around in 100 years. I will, but you're not. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to work for yourself, make it worthwhile. Make some fucking money. Instead of, and I'm not demeaning anybody, you make a 150, 250, 300, 400. I mean, you can get a job paying that much money. And that's at the higher end of the continuum with some of you. But I mean, you can get a fucking job. The young kids, out of school are making horrific amounts of money. And so if you're going to be in business for yourself, if you're going to be the owner, founder, and say it's my company, fucking get paid. Make it worthwhile. Most of you, your businesses right now, YouTube, everybody, you couldn't give them away. And if you died, you think that your family's going to be able to sell them? No, because you're the driving force of the fucking business. So as I said, when your exit strategy is falling down dead, your only saving grace is I hope you got big insurance policies. So if you're going to be in business for yourself, and if you're, then fine. Then get paid for all the 90, 100 hours a week. Get paid for all the frustration. Get paid for all the heartache. And with QLA, you'll get paid more than well. You'll get paid astonishingly well, more than you ever thought. More than you ever thought or dreamed. Okay, now, I told you about some of your businesses, and I mean not just necessarily the people in this room, but on YouTube, you'd have to pay people to take it off your hands. When they factor in your contingent liabilities and all the bullshit, and just think about it. It's my company, though. So when you die and you leave, your business is out of sort, and you don't give a shit about your old lady, you kick her to the curb, fine. You don't give a shit about your kids, fine. Kick them to the fucking curb. But when they sort out all the shit that you left them with, and they have to sell, the old lady has to sell the house. The kids got to drop out of school because of the turds you left them with. And nobody tells you that. No fuckers doing a podcast tells you that. In fact, most of the guys doing podcasts don't have a fucking business. Their business falls exactly in the category I just mentioned. They couldn't give the motherfuckers away. What is your business worth? More specific answer, between 3 and 10 times current annual post-tax profits, depending on the industry, the business, and many other factors. That equates to 2 to 5 times EBITDA, or 2 to 5 times cash flow. There's people listening to YouTube, and some of you that before you got here thought that your businesses were worth more than they are. And the reason that you thought that is because you never really investigated what the worth of them was, because you really don't want to know, because it'd be a sobering thing. 10, 15, 20 years in business, and your business isn't worth shit. And when you go to the slappy happy boys, the silk suit, they don't wear silk suits anymore. The Hawaiian shirt, cut off jean boys that do seminars now, they don't tell you that your business ain't worth cock. Because they want you to buy the premium and then the platinum version of whatever they sell. And then they want to upside and, sell you. Remember timing. You operate in a cyclical economy and market. Try to sell into an upwave. Now, I used to say this, and I'm going to say it again. If you're 40 years old or older, now I know some of that's on the borderline for a couple of you in here, because we got a few in the late 30s, but mostly in the early 30s, late 20s, and teens in here. If you're 40 years old or older and you're in an up market like now, sell. I don't give a fuck what industry. I don't give a fuck what business. I don't give a fuck what vertical you're in. Hit the bid, as they say. Meaning, there's a bid and an ask. Don't ask, just hit the fucking bid. Because you may never see it this good again. And at 40, you still have plenty of time to do it again. Hit the fucking bid. Whether you're an insurance peddler, a virtual one like some of you, or a eyeball-to-eyeball one like others of you in here. When I was selling insurance door to door, it wasn't something that we used to brag about. When I used to see the sun come up in that kitchen, glittering off the teapot when the sun came up. But it was where I learned my sales skills. Okay. Sellers and their representatives invariably present financial projections having more entertainment value than educational value. Warren Buffett says, because you're all smoking something. Now, this is what Dan says, not Warren. Well, if you're smoking that and it's not addictive, let me feel good too. Because most of the businesses that go up for sale are going up at multiples of what they sell for. That's why 95% of all businesses on the whole planet don't sell, because they're trying to get too much money out of them. They're trying to get too much money out of them. Now you know better. So when it's time for you to exit, and because you're going to exit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, you don't have to, get 5 times more than the company's worth or your business is worth when you exit. 7, start, buy a business, build, puff it up, sell the business, repeat this process, and you will make tens or even hundreds of millions. There is no other legal way that does not rely on luck. Start up, cash out, repeat. Start up, cash out, repeat. Start up, cash out, repeat. That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. And again, for the 20th time, the kids can do it 5, 6, 7 times. Even the old farts in the room, which aren't that old really, the babies to me can do it a couple times. And remember, net worth is created over a series of transactions, not one single transaction. Now, there are anomalies. The guys that Instagram got wealthy on one deal. So you all look to Instagram. All the YouTube retards are looking to Instagram. I'm going to be the next Instagram. Or the 4 or 5 or 6 apps that make a lot of money. Out of the 10 million apps that are existing. Well, the odds and the probabilities of you doing that are 0 and Slim left town. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And in 24 years of doing this next month, with all the successes we've had and all the tens of billions that we've created, we've never had an overnight rich kid. Never. Not one, not even remotely close. Where all of a sudden he woke up and there was 2 billion in his wallet. Of course, wallet means something different now than when I first started saying this 20 plus years ago. Because now you have wallets, you keep all your shit in, electronic. But that's not what I mean. I mean a regular wallet, like money bags here, carries around with all his shit. Yeah. Okay, what questions? Yes? Okay, now, Bill, now, have you asked me this question? Have you asked me it before? Okay, I'm listening. Now, I don't want to go and choke you, Bill, but okay, I'm getting close. Okay, so tell me, what's the question?
Yeah. When profit is going up, you sell it. However, when should you wait until it goes up to?
No, it's just up. Nobody can pick the top of the market. Not even a crooked Dutchman. Nobody can pick the top of a market. Just as nobody can pick the bottom of a market. You want the trend up. Don't try to squeeze the last dime or ruble or whatever the hell it is. You're not, if Warren Buffett's over since 1965 has only been growing at 5.7% or whatever it is a year, and the Dow Jones, etc., has been growing at 4.9 or something like that. How in the fuck, and so the Dow Jones and the indices have doubled in the last 20 years. How are you going to do any better? You're not. You're not. We want you to play the percentages. We want to play the odds that are the most in favor. And the odds that are most in favor are taking existing cash flow of a business, of a motivated seller, and where the cash flow can cover the debt service that you can borrow from a commercial bank, And again, the motivated seller, and it sounds awful, the closer to death they are, the better the selling prospect they are. And as I've been made famous for, one of the couples, if it's owned by a couple, spitting up blood at the table, and the other one having just had a stroke. They're motivated sellers. Now that's an exaggeration, but if they're not motivated, as Josh said, the teenage phenom, I mean, you're pissing in the wind. You're not going to convince them to sell. As smooth as you think you are. And you're not. I mean, you're not going to convince them. They have to want to sell. Now, I'll probably take a lot of heat for this. It's like sex. You're not gonna convince them to have sex with you. They have to have the little light bulb back here. Oh, I wouldn't mind I'd probably fancy fucking that kid. It's gotta be, you're not gonna brand it in their fucking head. For all the girls that are listening, just comment on my YouTube if that's wrong or not. Or do the guys convince you? I know the answer. And now you got to sign a piece of paper when you're going to have sex with somebody. You pick them up at the dormitory, which I think is a travesty. It's a travesty. And we're going to send all you guys' names out so they can send you the death threats instead of me. Yeah.
If you got 100 dental practices, for example.
I thought we were vet. What do you mean? You're a dentist now? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
And you're doing your exit strategy. Do you sell all 100s to one market?
That's a good point. Let's say that you've rolled up 100, whatever, in wherever area you are. You may not sell all. You may find somebody that, if you're in Belgium, that a pension fund wants to buy, has a limit, a cap on how much it can spend. And so let's say if you're going to sell all 100, it may be 400 or 500 million. And they've only got 170 million. So you carve out, and you find, that's a very good question. You carve out and you sell to the motivated buyer in that case. And then you continue to roll up and you find another motivated buyer. Remember, we're telling you about motivated sellers now, but you're going to be a seller down the road. But you're not going to be as motivated as the couple that I just described, hopefully. And you're going to be looking for somebody that's trying to build a portfolio, is looking for a yield, a pension fund, and all the things that we talked about in the last week. So you may, but we're trying to find somebody that's going to purchase the whole portfolio. But sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
One by one is still okay, or?
Yeah, no, you don't want to sell off one by one. No. You don't mind purchasing them one by one, but you don't want to, it takes too much time. The expenses, and when you're one by one, add up. So you want to sell in tranches, in groups.
What is the best source for you to find a buyer?
Every buyer is different. I mean, every industry is different. I like going public. Of course, I have more experience in that than I have in industry, large industry giants. But industry giants will often pay more than the public will in a IPO, or as they call it in this country, a flotation. It depends. But that's why you've got big accountants, big lawyers, and it's their job to go and find you an exit. And all the big professional firms, advisory firms, like big exits because there's big fees. And it's fee-driven. And if they know that you're going to launch into a second career or a third career of another roll-up, they'll be, quite often excited about it. And it's not unusual for you to keep the same accountants and the same lawyers in the second roll-up, the third roll-up, the fourth roll-up. I had the same accountants do 22 roll-ups. And, they were naming their fucking grandchildren after me. The boardrooms after me. But they knew the game. They felt comfortable with me. I felt comfortable with them. And there was I don't want to make this sound too Mother Teresa, but there was a trust between us. Other question? Okay, is there anything about this process? Well, no, I'm not going to ask that. I'm not going to ask you if there's anything about this process you don't get, because I'll be here till tomorrow. But whatever you might be shaky on, you're going to get in all the material. And your first questions in your first weekly report that's due not this weekend, but next weekend on Sunday, midnight, UK time. And you'll get the format. You're going to get a link from Thelma that shows and follow it verbatim. And the sections that kids inadvertently forget about are L, M, and N on the outline. M is what did you do to scare yourself? And N is what did you learn this week? And somehow they skip it. They go from M to Z. I mean, they just skip it. I don't know how. Basis Los, I don't know why. I know why. Because you don't want to put down what scared you, or you didn't do anything that scared you. Remember, you got those links now to help you come up with scary stuff. And what we're doing is we're pushing your comfort zone, and we're pushing you to do things that you wouldn't normally do. And the two examples that I gave you, the guy running in with a diaper in Starbucks in Madison Avenue, New York City. I don't recommend you do that, but we have had kids do that, where they run into Starbucks wearing a diaper. But nobody, as I told you, didn't get arrested. Nobody even gave him a second look in New York City, running around in a diaper. Yeah. So, okay. Anything else? Okay. Tonight, Kilt graduation night. Which ought to be interesting to see some of your bony knees. And we have the graduation ceremony. And I look forward to it. And of course, it's a special evening, and so it's going to be memorialized by my dynamic duo here of Kat and EJ. And but if there's no more questions, YouTube, thank you very much for your participation. Ciao.